The sleek silver ship descended from the clouds, casting a shadow over Seoul's government district. People stood frozen in the streets, staring upward as the massive vessel, larger than any human aircraft, hovered silently above them. Lee stood beside President Moon at the hastily arranged meeting site, both men trying to maintain their composure. Around them, world leaders and military officials whispered anxiously. Nobody had expected first contact to happen on a Tuesday morning. "Do we have any idea what they want?" President Moon asked quietly. Lee shook his head. "Nothing yet, sir." A beam of light shot down from the alien vessel, materializing into three tall, slender beings with iridescent blue skin. Their large eyes studied the human delegation with what Lee thought might be curiosity or perhaps contempt. The tallest alien stepped forward. "We represent the Galactic Council," it said in perfect English, its voice coming from a small device on its chest. "I am Emissary Dole. We have been observing your world for some time." The initial conversations seemed promising. The aliens explained that their council governed thousands of worlds across the galaxy. They spoke of trade, cultural exchange, and technological advancement. Earth, they said, could join this grand alliance. Lee noticed the careful way the aliens avoided certain questions about their military capabilities or the status of other junior members. Something felt off. 3 days later, the truth emerged during negotiations at the United Nations. "Your species has potential," Emissary Dole stated coolly. "But you are centuries behind Council standards. We offer protection and limited technological exchange in return for resources and annual tribute." "Tribute?" President Moon questioned. "A reasonable fee for the protection and guidance we provide," another alien, introduced as Counselor Vex, clarified. "Many developing worlds find the arrangement beneficial." Lee studied the document they presented. Earth would be classified as a protectorate species with severe restrictions on technological development and space travel. The protection fees amounted to massive amounts of rare minerals, biological samples, and water. "This isn't membership," Lee whispered to President Moon. "It's subjugation." "And if we decline?" asked the British Prime Minister from across the table. The aliens exchanged glances before Emissary Dole answered. "The Tyre system chose that path. Their planets now serve as mining outposts for more cooperative species. I believe humans would find such an arrangement uncomfortable." A chill ran through the room. The implied threat was clear: accept these terms or face consequences. Outside the meeting, satellite feeds showed more alien vessels appearing in orbit. Military analysts confirmed weapons far beyond Earth's defensive capabilities. That evening, the world leaders gathered in private. "We have no choice," said the Chinese president. "Their technology is too advanced. We would be destroyed. So we just surrender," the American president demanded. President Moon sighed heavily. "We buy time. We appear to comply while learning everything we can." 2 days later, Earth's representatives signed the agreement. Emissary Dole looked pleased as the document was finalized. "A wise decision," the alien said. "Council representatives will arrive within the month to establish proper resource collection protocols." As they left the building, Lee walked beside President Moon through the quiet hallway. "This isn't over," Lee said quietly. "We just need time." The president nodded. "Gather our best scientists, engineers, and military minds. Keep it quiet. We'll need a separate communication network, nothing the aliens might monitor." Within weeks, Council ships began appearing regularly in Earth's skies. Massive cargo vessels descended to designated collection points, departing with Earth's resources while leaving behind only the most basic technological improvements, medical devices just slightly better than what humans already had, agricultural techniques that increased yield by modest amounts. 6 months after first contact, Lee sat in an underground bunker with military and scientific leaders from around the world. On screens around them were schematics and data collected from observing the alien technology. "They're being careful about what they show us," said Dr. Park, head of the reverse engineering team. "But they can't hide everything. Every landing, every interaction gives us more information. How long, asked General Bo, how long until we can challenge them? Lee looked at the timeline displayed on the main screen. 20 years, minimum. Maybe more. But every day we learn. Every day we grow stronger while they believe we're growing more dependent. And until then, someone asked. Until then, Lee said, we smile, we bow, and we prepare. The Galactic Council thinks Earth is just another conquered world. They'll learn their mistake when we're ready to teach them. 20 years passed since the Galactic Council had forced Earth to accept its terms. On the surface, humans appeared to be model protectorate members. They shipped resources to Council worlds, paid their tributes, and showed appropriate deference to Council representatives. What the Council didn't see happened in the shadows. Deep within the hollowed-out moon of Titan, Admiral Min stood before the massive viewscreen. The chamber was cut from the moon's ice and rock, reinforced with materials reverse-engineered from Council technology. Before her, hundreds of technicians worked at control stations monitoring the largest hidden shipyard in the solar system. Status report, Min said quietly. Chief Engineer Beck approached with a tablet. The phase shields are now working at 143% of Council specifications. We've solved the power drain issue. Min nodded, studying the information. Through the reinforced viewport behind her, workers swarmed over the massive warship taking shape in the cavernous construction bay. The vessel was nearly 2 kilometers long, larger than anything the Council had ever shown humans. And the stealth systems? Min asked. Still undetectable to Council scanning technology, Beck confirmed. We tested it again last week when their patrol passed through the system. They saw nothing. Min allowed herself a small smile. The Council believed they were monitoring all human technological development. They had no idea that humans had been studying and improving upon every piece of alien technology they encountered. Production numbers? Min asked, walking toward another viewport overlooking additional construction bays. Beck handed her another report. We're ahead of schedule. The Jupiter and Saturn facilities report similar progress. The asteroid belt factories are producing components faster than expected. Throughout the solar system, hidden in asteroids, beneath planetary surfaces, and concealed within gas giant clouds, humanity's secret fleet grew. The Council's arrogance had proven their greatest weakness. They saw humans as simple, barely evolved primates who could be easily controlled. They never imagined humans would be capable of building advanced technology on their own or concealing massive industrial operations. Admiral, called a communications officer, we have an incoming transmission from Earth Command. Min moved to a private communication booth. The screen activated to show Director Lee, older now, his hair gray, but with the same determined eyes she remembered from 20 years ago when they first began this project. Admiral Min, he greeted her. I've just received the new Council resource demands. Let me guess, they want more? Lee nodded. 20% increase in rare earth elements and 30% more water ice. They claim their growing territories require additional resources. At our expense, Min said. We'll comply, Lee replied. For now. How is the Battle Group 6 progressing? Min sent him the latest reports. We'll have over 3,000 ships of various classes ready within 2 years. The weapons systems are exceeding expectations. What made Earth's secret fleet truly formidable wasn't just its size but its innovations. Human engineers had taken basic Council technology and transformed it, combining it with uniquely human approaches to warfare. The Council's ships were powerful but predictable. Earth's vessels incorporated asymmetric warfare concepts that the Council had never encountered. And the crews? Lee asked. Training in virtual simulations, Min answered. When the ships are ready, the crews will be too. After the transmission ended, Min walked through the installation. In a large chamber, hundreds of officers trained in simulators that perfectly replicated the bridge of Earth's new warships. They practiced combat scenarios against Council forces, running drills again and again until their responses were instinctive. In another section, scientists tested new weapons designed specifically to counter Council defenses. The plasma cannon they were testing could cut through a Council heavy cruiser's shields in seconds, unlike any weapon the Council had ever deployed. Min paused at a railing overlooking the main shipyard. The workers below were installing the distinctive blue-black armor plates that would make Earth's ships not just invisible to scanners but nearly impossible to track visually against the darkness of space. A young officer approached and saluted. "Admiral, the Council inspection team has scheduled their monthly visit to the moon base." Min nodded. "Make sure all visible projects remain within acceptable parameters. Let them see exactly what they expect to see." The officer smiled. "Of course, Admiral. They'll see our primitive attempts at adapting their technology." As Min looked out at the growing fleet, she remembered the humiliation of that first meeting with the Council. How they had looked down on humans, treated them as children. 20 years, she whispered to herself. 20 years of working in the shadows, of hiding our true capabilities, of learning their weaknesses. Soon, the Council would discover that humanity was not what they thought. Soon, the galaxy would learn what humans were truly capable of when pushed too far. The emergency alert woke Admiral Min at 0300 hours. She quickly moved to the command center of the Titan base, where officers were already gathered around the main display screen. The images showed Council ships surrounding the human colony on Proxima Centauri b, Earth's first and most successful extrasolar settlement. "Report," Min ordered, her voice calm despite the tension in the room. Colonel Day stepped forward. "The Council has officially reassigned Proxima Centauri b to the Veldari. They claim the human colony is underutilizing the planet's resources." Min's expression remained neutral, but her hands gripped the command rail tightly. "And our people?" 15,000 colonists have been given 30 days to evacuate, they said. "They can take personal belongings only. All infrastructure and equipment must remain." The colony had been established 12 years ago, one of the few concessions the Council had granted Earth. Humans had transformed the once barren world, building cities, farms, and a thriving community. Now the Council was simply taking it away. "They can't do this," said one of the younger officers. Min looked at him. "They can. According to the agreement we signed, any Council species of higher status can petition for resource reallocation." Her voice carried 2 decades of carefully controlled anger. "Have we received any official response from Earth Command?" Min asked. "Director Lee is in emergency meetings with global leadership," Colonel Day answered. "They're preparing a formal protest." Min almost laughed. Protests meant nothing to the Council. They had watched for 20 years as Earth filed complaint after complaint, each one dismissed with the same patronizing language: "The concerns of protectorate species will be considered at an appropriate time." 2 days later, the first evacuation ships departed from Earth for Proxima Centauri. Min watched from her private quarters as the transports, carefully disguised as simple cargo vessels, left orbit. They were actually advanced ships, fitted with the stealth technology developed in the hidden shipyards, but appearing to Council observers as outdated vessels barely capable of interstellar travel. What happened next changed everything. 1 week into the evacuation, 3 transport ships were returning from Proxima Centauri filled with evacuees. As they approached the jump point, a Veldari cruiser intercepted them. "Human vessels," came the transmission, "you are suspected of illegally removing resources from a Council-designated world. Prepare for boarding and inspection." The transport captains protested that they carried only refugees and personal belongings, as permitted. The Veldari ship opened fire without further warning. The transports, despite their hidden capabilities, were not warships. They carried minimal defensive shields to maintain their cover. 2 of the ships were severely damaged before they could escape into jump space. The third was destroyed. 300 colonists died. Admiral Min was in the middle of a planning session when the news arrived. The room fell silent as the casualty reports appeared on screen. "They fired on unarmed civilian transports," said Engineer Beck, his voice shaking. "Families. Children." Min touched a communication panel. "Get me Director Lee. Now." The screen activated to show Director Lee in the underground command center on Earth. He looked older than his 70 years, the weight of 2 decades of preparation heavy on his shoulders. "You've heard," he said simply. Min nodded. "This changes things." "The council is claiming it was a misunderstanding," Lee replied. "They say the Veldari captain mistook our ships for resource smugglers." "And you believe that?" Min asked. "No. Reports from survivors indicate the Veldari knew exactly who they were firing on." Lee paused. "The question is, what do we do now?" For 20 years, they had prepared, built, and waited for the right moment. They had discussed countless scenarios for when to reveal Earth's true strength. Always, they had planned to choose the time and place carefully. "The Veldari will be at the colony in force within 2 weeks," Min said. "Once they establish control, they'll never leave." Through the communication screen, Min could see other leaders gathering around Director Lee, military commanders, political leaders, the representatives of a unified Earth who had worked in secret for 2 decades. "We're not ready," someone said off-screen. "We need another year to complete the fleet." "If we wait another year," Min countered, "we lose the colony." "And what message does that send? That humans can be killed without consequence?" The room was silent for a long moment. Then Director Lee straightened his shoulders. "Admiral Min," he said formally, "you are authorized to implement Operation Hidden Shield. May our ancestors guide us." Min nodded solemnly. After 20 years of preparation, the moment had finally arrived. She pressed the command console, sending the coded signal to every hidden base and shipyard in the solar system. "All units," she ordered, "activation protocol Alpha. The time has come." The Great Council Hall buzzed with activity as representatives from hundreds of species gathered for the emergency session. At the center of the chamber, Ambassador Khan stood with Earth's small delegation, surrounded by towering aliens from across the galaxy. Council Leader Mox, a tall being with 6 limbs and reflective golden skin, called the session to order. "We have convened to address the unfortunate incident at the human colony," Mox announced. "The Veldari representative will explain what occurred." Ambassador Khan kept his face expressionless as the Veldari diplomat stepped forward. For 20 years, humans had attended these sessions, always relegated to the edges, always spoken about rather than spoken to. The human vessels were warned multiple times, the Veldari claimed, his translator converting his shrill voice to standard speech. When they failed to comply with inspection protocols, the patrol captain was forced to fire warning shots. Any casualties resulted from the humans' poor ship design and pilot error. Kong stepped forward. "That is a lie. Our transports carried families evacuating their homes. As your council ordered. They were fired upon without provocation." The Veldari representative's skin flushed a deep purple. "How dare a protectorate species question my account?" Ambassador Khan, Council Leader Mox said with clear annoyance, "Your species' continued defiance of Council protocols is becoming tiresome. Perhaps we should review Earth's protectorate status entirely." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Several council members nodded, clearly pleased at the thought of further restricting Earth's already limited rights. "That won't be necessary," Kong said calmly, checking the small device on his wrist. "In fact, I believe it's time for a different kind of review." He tapped the device once. Nothing seemed to happen. Council Leader Mox made a sound of derision. "Is this some primitive human demonstration?" "Just wait," Kong replied. Suddenly, every communication screen in the council hall activated simultaneously. The chamber's master display lit up without anyone controlling it. The council's security team rushed to the systems, but nothing they did affected the screens. The displays showed space empty at first. Then massive ships began appearing. Not dozens. Not hundreds. Thousands. Human warships materialized near every major council world, military installation, and trade route across the galaxy. The council chamber fell completely silent. On the main screen, Admiral Min appeared, standing on the bridge of her flagship. The vessel was massive, far larger than anything humans were supposed to possess. "Distinguished council members," Min began, her voice calm and clear, "for 20 years, you have treated Earth as a resource to be exploited. Today, that arrangement ends. The camera view pulled back to reveal the true scale of Earth's armada. Warships of various classes moved into strategic positions throughout Council space. Some were larger than anything in the Council fleet. "This is impossible," shouted the Veldari representative. "Human technological development has been monitored. They are a primitive species." Ambassador Kong smiled for the first time. "You monitored what we wanted you to see." On screen, Admiral Min continued, "At this moment, human fleets have established positions near every major Council world. Our vessels are currently in defensive posture only. We have not come to start a war, but we are prepared to finish one if necessary." Council leader Mox stood frozen, staring at the screens. "How is this possible?" he finally asked, turning to Kong. "How could you build such a fleet without detection?" "Humans have always excelled at hiding things," Kong replied simply, "especially when properly motivated by fear and anger." The displays showed Council military vessels scrambling to respond, but they were outnumbered and outpositioned. In some sectors, Council ships found themselves surrounded by human vessels that seemed to appear from nowhere. "Your stealth technology is beyond anything the Council possesses," one of the scientific advisors whispered, studying the readings. "These ships couldn't have just arrived, they've been in position for days." Ambassador Kong nodded. "Some for weeks. You never noticed." On the main screen, Admiral Min's flagship moved closer to the Council homeworld. "We will now address the Council with our terms. We do not seek vengeance or domination, only equality. The exploitation of Earth ends today." Throughout the chamber, representatives from various species began arguing. Some demanded immediate military action. Others urged caution, seeing the strategic situation clearly. "This is a violation of Council law," the Veldari shouted. "Protectorate species are forbidden from developing advanced military technology." Kong turned to face the Veldari directly. "We are no longer a protectorate species. We never truly were. You just didn't realize it." Council leader Mox slumped back into his seat, looking suddenly old and tired. "How long have you been planning this?" "Since the day you arrived on our world," Kong answered honestly, "and made the mistake of underestimating us." On the screens around them, Earth's hidden fleet continued to take position, revealing the true face of humanity to a stunned galaxy. The Council chamber remained tense on the third day of negotiations. Earth's fleet maintained its positions throughout Council space, neither advancing nor retreating. At the center of the chamber, Admiral Min faced the Council leadership directly, no longer relegated to the observer sections where protectorate species were typically seated. "Your demands are unreasonable," Council leader Mox said, his golden skin dull with fatigue after the long sessions. "You cannot expect the Council to simply accept a new member with full military autonomy." Admiral Min stood tall, her uniform bearing no rank or insignia, a subtle reminder that Earth followed its own protocols now. "We are not asking for permission to join," Min replied calmly. "We are offering an alliance between equals." The Veldari representative hissed in anger. "Equals? Your species was using combustion engines when we first contacted you. And yet," Min said with a small smile, "our ships now surround your homeworld." The chamber erupted in angry shouts and arguments. Some Council species demanded immediate military action, while others, seeing the strategic reality more clearly, urged compromise. Earth's fleet was positioned too well. Any attempt at a coordinated attack would result in devastating losses for the Council. Ambassador Kong stepped forward. "We have presented fair terms. Earth retains its military independence but proposes genuine alliance and cooperation. We will share technologies, participate in cultural exchange, and contribute to the common defense as equals, not servants. And if we refuse, asked a reptilian diplomat from the outer systems." Admiral Min's expression remained neutral. "Then we remain apart. Earth will establish its own alliances with whoever wishes to work with us as equals. Our fleet will protect our interests. We would prefer peace, but we will not return to subjugation." Council leader Mox studied the humans carefully. "You could have struck without warning. Your fleet was in position. Why reveal yourselves through negotiation rather than force? Because we are not conquerors, Min answered simply. We want a just galaxy, not merely one where humans replace the Council as oppressors. The Council took a recess to deliberate privately. As the alien representatives filed out, Admiral Min and Ambassador Kong waited alone in the chamber. Do you think they'll agree? Kong asked quietly. Min watched the departing council members. They have no choice. Their military analysis by now will have confirmed what we already know: they cannot win a direct conflict. Some will never accept us as equals, Kong noted. Some never accept anything new, Min replied. But others will see opportunity in real alliance. When the council returned, the mood had shifted. Many of the more aggressive members seemed subdued, while species that had been quiet before now took more prominent positions in the chamber. The Trilisian ambassador, a tall being with 4 arms and luminescent skin, spoke first. My people have reviewed your proposals carefully. While we have concerns about specific details, we believe your core principle is sound. The council has perhaps grown complacent in its treatment of newer species. Other moderate voices joined in, admitting that the old hierarchy had created resentment among many worlds, not just Earth. Several smaller council species confessed they had chafed under similar restrictions. By evening, a framework agreement had been drafted. Earth and its colonies would retain their sovereignty and military independence while joining the council as a full member with equal voting rights. The resource tribute system would be reformed across all council space. As the formal ceremony concluded, Council Leader Mox approached Admiral Min privately. You've changed everything, he said, not with anger but with a kind of weary acceptance. The Council has stood for 10,000 years with the same hierarchical structure. Perhaps it was time for change, Min suggested. Mox studied her face. I must know, how did you accomplish this? Our monitoring systems detected nothing. Our intelligence networks saw no hint of your fleet construction. Min considered her answer carefully. She thought of the underground factories, the asteroid bases, the gas giant cloud facilities, all hidden in plain sight for 2 decades. Humans have been preparing for threats since before we learned to make fire, she finally said. The real question, Council Leader, is why you never considered us a threat worth watching. Mox's skin shimmed slightly, a sign of discomfort. We thought we understood your capabilities completely. A dangerous assumption with any species, Min replied. As they prepared to leave the chamber, the Trilisian ambassador joined them. Admiral, my government wishes to establish direct diplomatic relations with Earth immediately. We believe there is much we could learn from each other. One by one, other species approached with similar requests. What had begun as forced negotiations was transforming into genuine diplomatic exchange. That evening, aboard her flagship, Admiral Min looked out at the stars. For the first time in 20 years, humanity's future was entirely its own. They had prepared for war but achieved peace on their terms. Was it worth the wait? Ambassador Kong asked, joining her at the viewport. Min nodded, watching as council and human ships now moved alongside each other without hostility. 20 years in shadow to ensure centuries in the light, she said. Yes, it was worth it.